What's going on, everybody? This is an episode from the No Gimmicks Needed Wrestling podcast. Do you like podcasts and you want to see the full podcast? Make sure you check out the No Gimmicks Needed Wrestling podcast on all your podcast platforms, such as Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, among many others. But you're listening to the episode right here on YouTube, so make sure you hit that like button and below, and make sure you hit the subscribe button to NC Studios and NC Level Up for all your gaming needs. This is the Nerd Coalition. Enjoy the show. Alright guys, so that's not the only interview, of course, with Vince McMahon and Pat McAfee, but we had another one where Keith Lee went on Talkers Jericho, which is like the norm now. Any big guy, any big person that leaves WWE after their 90 days, gotta talk to Jericho, because that's like the standard now, right? Especially when people got stuff to say.
I mean, not anymore, because some of the people were just salty just to be salty. Like, for example, Mox had a good reason to be on there.
Mox had a good reason.
Yeah, so Mox is probably one of the first big ones that caught fire.
How do you feel about FTR?
Which one?
Well,
the recent ones, or are you talking about the one with Jericho, or the one that they did recently?
I ain't see the one recently. I'm talking about the one they did with Jericho.
Oh no, theirs was cool too. No, I only said the recent because they did they both separately did a whatever Renee calls her podcast.
Oh, okay.
And they did hers separately, but they were just being themselves, and people was legit getting mad at them because stuff they was talking about, because they love wrestling so much to where they kind of play them they admit that they're marks, all right?
Mm-hmm.
So wrestling gets to them so much that they are into it. So they were just asking them about specific things in the storyline. They was getting upset about, Yeah, I think Brett should have won that title at. I don't think he should have dropped it to Shawn Michaels. Are you kidding me? They was doing stuff like that. It was themselves, not in character. But yeah.
Yeah. Well. Keith Lee was on there. He was discussing his final days in WWE, basically, especially when he got caught up to the main roster and the butting heads that. Well, it wasn't necessarily butting heads with the thing that of him and Vince McMahon that said, and there's certain things. So he's talking Chris Jericho, and he came out and he was talking about that Vince McMahon did not like the way he cut promos. So before we say anything, let me finish.
Greetings and salutations.
Yes, that thing. He said the way that I speak, my cadence, the way that I seem very thoughtful about how I deliver things, my choice of diction, all those things is something that Vince was not a fan of. To the point.
I'm gonna just wait. I'm gonna wait till you finish.
Okay.
Until you finish this saying.
Yeah. To the point where he literally told me, "You sound too smart for your own good." I'm like, I don't understand what that means. What is that? He wanted something more grimy, and I don't think I delivered that for him. He wanted some intense guy, and I think that I can be intense, but I need a reason to be intense. Now, what was you going to say?
No, I was going to say, I was listening to a podcast, and they said sometimes in AEW, so far that Keith Lee is like a GTA player. He's like a NPC. He just standing there, and then when you come up to him, greetings and salutations. It's like, when you walk past people in GTA?
Yeah.
They said that's his greeting when you walk past him, because he really just be chilling on the Dynamites and stuff on the pre-tapes.
Uh-huh.
He just been chilling in the back, and then somebody just walk up to him, and he be like, greetings, and then they talk trash to him and then walk away. Yeah. It's like he just an NPC. Mind his own business.
They actually, I don't know, was it in some promo, or I don't know if it was BT or something, they was making fun of the whole greetings and salutations thing.
Yeah, it was Ricky Starks. Yeah, it was on Dynamite.
Oh yeah, Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks. He
was just sitting there, and then Ricky Starks like, greetings and salutations.
Yeah. You know what? And here's the thing. I don't like the way Vince is being worded. I'll be honest with you. But
of course.
I
just like Winning Time, when it was like he's a thoroughbred all American boy, white.
Yeah. like that. It's just like the way it worded. So I can understand being defensive, especially with Vince's word. However, I'm not going to.
You mean to tell me Keith Lee is not a specimen? A specimen?
A specimen. It's the thing. It's like I never liked the way Keith Lee delivered promos. I'm a fan of Keith Lee about everything else, but it's the pro. It's like, okay, there's a time where my wife would watch certain wrestlers. She'd be like, that voice don't fit that guy. One of those people I remember she told me about recently was Damian Priest. When he talks, she says, I did not expect that voice to come out that man.
Mm-hmm.
Or if somebody's talking and you'd be like, oh, I thought their voice would be a lot different. Like, but then you got people that have a voice that match up with who they look like. For instance, Ron Simmons. That's like the perfect. His voice and the way he looks, I'm like, I see all that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when it comes out of, of Ron Simmons, like, it fits him, type thing. But the whole, the greetings and the salutations type thing, I was like, I don't know if that's going to get over. and I'm like, and I get what he's saying. That's just like, this is just me. And we got to try to find a way to get him over. But he is a big guy who can just do limitless things. And it's like, okay, now obviously when you're in the WWE, they want you to get more over than just your wrestling work, obviously. And you're going to have to like to talk and stuff like that. Even in AEW, he's able to showcase more of his Keith Lee type stuff. But it's coming like, when it comes to, the promo stuff like that, yes, he's going to get, probably made fun of or, a joked about it. I'm not saying just the way the man talks, the way the man talks, obviously. But it's just, that whole greetings and salutations type thing. It's like, you almost like, it's like laughable when you hear it. With the way he says it. It's like he sounds like my wife used to say when she first heard Keith Lee, because she didn't know who Keith Lee was. She was like, he sounded like a swole Theo from Cosby Show.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, I could definitely hear that. Because I was like, the way Theo would talk to Cosby was like, everything he about to say is like, I got, especially when he got older, it's like, I'm explaining everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I didn't need that. But he said that he said while he tried to fit McMahon's vision, he didn't feel like he was good at doing so. So he said he knew that portraying a character that was intense all the time was illogical to him. Because Vince, he sees these big guys. And he's like, big guy got to be a monster. That's, it got to be a power. It got to be, you don't want to fuck with this badass motherfucker right here. That's what Vince McMahon sees every time he sees a big guy. And look at all the big guys that, like, from Undertaker to Kane to Brock Lesnar to Bobby Lashley, minus the Big Show.
I was about to say the Big Show was definitely, they had this man crying on TV.
Exactly, minus the Big Show. But you could go Braun Strowman or even Roman or like those heavyweights, the super heavyweight kind of guys that are bigger guys. He has always booked them in a more intimidating kind of way. And sometimes they get a mouthpiece and sometimes they don't. But the way he said that, Keith Lee's like, I'm not intense all the time. I'm kind of like, just a guy or whatever the case may be. I'm just like, yeah, I get it. Then he said they came and he said he tried to do the Bearcat thing. And the Bearcat thing was not a tribute to Bearcat Wright. Vince McMahon did not pick up that name for a tribute to Bearcat Wright. And then Keith Lee was more so saying that, he did, it was like, he could be his own trendsetter. He didn't want to, take after this guy. But he said, but if we're going to do this, let's try and do it. Then he got COVID. And then, of course, the COVID kept him out with a complication where the man almost died. So, when he came back, he said... Wait,
he called COVID before Bearcat?
Yes.
I thought he was Bearcat after he came back.
No, he was Bearcat when after he came back from COVID, not before.
I'm saying, so after he came back, he was Bearcat. Like, he wasn't before.
Yeah, I'm not probably talking out of order, but he was Bearcat after he came back from COVID.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, he said that he would have matches with Bobby Lashley and Karrion Kross, and he said Vince McMahon will pull him aside in the middle of a Monday Night Raw. You know how Vince be on them headphones, look at that, scream at the commentators, stuff like that. He said to discuss. He said the Bearcat character. He said it was in that conversation that he basically was like, "Listen, I need you to do this. I need you to be this." And I was like, "Listen, I mean, I work for you, so that's what I'm going. If that's what you want, that's what we're going to do." And Vince added that Bearcat to make him to be more monstrous, aggressive type thing, but it didn't work for the satisfaction of McMahon, obviously, or to Keith Lee either. And then after that, he was, obviously just let go.
Now, in this video, did they talk about him changing his attire, like wearing the shirt? Did they talk about that?
I did. I those transcripts I did not pick up if he did talk about that.
That's what I want to hear about.
Yeah, I mean, because I the look didn't. Here's the thing. Like I said, I'm a huge Keith Lee guy. The look, I don't understand why he had to change the look. I don't understand the Samoa Joe shorts. I damn sure understand.
Because he's fat.
Say what?
It's a bit's voice.
That's right.
It was because he's fat.
And I don't understand putting him in a shirt or putting him in a wrestling singlet, or because that made him look fatter.
Mm-hmm.
It made him look. We know Keith Lee's a big guy, and I'm like, that's what he is. But he's a very athletic guy. According to him, though, he Roman let him call those spots at the Survivor Series.
Mm-hmm. I see.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh, well, that's putting your trust in the guy.
Well, hey, he thought he was gonna be the next big dog, but hey, you see what happened to that?
Well, I mean, I'm saying, but he could
greetings and salutations somewhere else. That's what Vince said.
How do you necessarily like feel about it? Do you even like the way Keith Lee's like? Here's the thing, Vince lost.
I don't mind the way Keith Lee's speaking because it's like for what he was getting, he wasn't getting nothing to be mad about. So he was just like getting interviewed backstage. So I mean, you don't have a character at the moment, and you just kind of just backstage and you get interviewed. Yeah, you don't need to be intense. You can just be like, "Yeah, what's up?" Now the greetings and salutations thing, somebody said he just got like a Barry White Shakespeare thing going on. He could just read a lot of books. We don't know.
Remember, he was the one doing all the singing in that Main Event movie on Netflix.
All right,
that's right.
Then he could just like Barry White, and he could just like Shakespeare books. He could just be a big person that likes books. We don't know. He could be a Stephen A. Smith and throw a word like preposterous fish out there. I don't know. We don't know. But
that's preposterous. Yeah.
But I mean, if you just chilling, you ain't. They didn't give him no reason to turn up the intensity volume. So I don't have a problem with it.
No, I mean,
he talk regularly.
It's they just probably wanted him. They just look at him as like, oh my god, I would not want to fuck with that man down the alleyway type thing like that.
Yeah, but I'm saying if he's a nice, he don't always got to be a bully. He could be a nice guy. Be like, oh, you dropped your keys, sir, and people gonna be running from him anyway. It's like what's the movie with the thing, Fantastic Four, and the dude, the first Fantastic Four.
Yeah, and
the dude was like on the edge, and he was like, "Hey, I'm sorry," and he was like trying to like say I'm sorry, and then the dude like fell off the building or something.
Yeah,
something like that.
Well, he got scared and he fell into the street.
Yeah, he's like, he can be nice as possible, so I don't know.
Yeah, no, it was what was I saying? I think what Keith Lee wants with his character is that he wants to look at, like, if people come by and see him, they see this big, intimidating looking black guy. Like, that's what but it's like when he speaks or when he's not angry, it's just like, oh, wait a minute, he's just a cool, calm, collective dude, but don't piss him off because it's like
that should have been his gimmick. You want to give him a gimmick? Don't make me mad.
Yeah, like an Incredible Hulk gimmick type thing, like where it's like he's nice, he could be reading flowers in the meadow and shit like that, and then all of a sudden this is like somebody walks over and knocks over his milk. It's like, oh shit, you gotta now you got Keith Lee doing limitless stuff, and then now he's doing leapfrogs and springboards and all that stuff like that. It's like, oh wait a minute, Keith Lee could be something special here. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what he wants his character to be. And I don't think Vince McMahon saw it that way. So I think that's where they, kind of butted heads at.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I don't know what Tony Khan sees. I mean, if Tony Khan wants to keep Keith Lee as Keith Lee, because once again, like, Keith Lee's here now because he's over because he's Keith Lee. But then it's like, okay, so we're going to have with some championships. Is it going to be the same? Same thing with with Triple H in NXT. We know what Keith Lee was. He was basically the same Keith Lee, but I will credit Triple H for giving him more of a mean streak, because he did give him he did give him more of a mean streak, and it worked.
Because he started out as a heel almost, but he was so like cocky that he got him over.
I mean, he wasn't really a heel when he first came to NXT.
When he first got on TV, he was a heel. Well, he wasn't like one of those bad guy heels. He was just extra cocky. That's all.
Yeah, but remember that feud he had with Karrion Kross. I mean, the good Karrion Kross, and then the one where he was outside and he was beating some dude's ass and they had a brawl outside. Those evil Keith Lee, like and then he would come up and you see somebody in the corner, he'd come up there and just like, wow, where did this big man come from? Start choking him. Like, those kind of things is like, some of the aggression that was put into him in NXT that can balance out with the way he is. And I think that Vince have a hard time finding the balance. He's not an Omos, You just don't make him just a big for nothing guy, all dumb, like, and, like The Rock said, this is what you do best. What I'm saying?
That promo, man. Oh my gosh. All timer.
Yes, it's so great.
I'm gonna play the slow motion for you. Shut your mouth, you fatty, or whatever he said.